Hey folks, welcome back to Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. We're here in Iron Keep. This is the... Oh, hi there. Sorry, you confused me by standing in the same place as me. This is the final area on this particular spoke of the world, so we're gonna fight a climactic Great Soul boss, in a couple episodes' time. You may have noticed that, my outfit looks a little different. I felt like it was time for a change, so I am now wearing the Brigand armor and the mannequin boots. Going for a little bit of a darker look. Darker as in, you know, like black muted colors. Still got the pink hair, so. Anyway, you may have noticed while I was swinging my camera around, there's an item right there. I don't recommend trying to get it, because the platform is on fire, and it will kill you very quickly. If you want to get that item, you need to be prepared. Same with that item over there. See that? Over on the left? You'll have to be prepared. Anyway, this bridge on Iron Keep is a very popular place for PvP. But I'll talk about that in a moment after I deal with this guy. I don't know if he's gonna... Nope, he didn't drop anything. Those are the Alon Knights. They are basically armored samurai. They're pretty cool. But you'll grow to dislike them in this area if you're not careful. Because they are armored enemies, they are susceptible to blunt damage from strike weapons. However, there is an unarmored foe coming right up. Coming right up. There we go. Armorer Dennis! Hi there. I hate you. So you remember Armorer Dennis? Armorer Dennis was the guy in that kind of hidden area of the Forest of Fallen Giants who had a whole bunch of powerful spells that, well, you won't remember as well as I did because you didn't see my, like, 10, 15 failed attempts to defeat him. But he's a dangerous guy. And I don't have any summons to help me this time. No. Come on, come on. Yeah! So, Armorer Dennis is one of two evil, dark spirit things that can invade you here. I guess, I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason to what order they invade you, because the last two times I tried to record this segment, it was a different invader. So, I don't know, it might be random. But, if we reload the area, we'd probably get invaded by the other person, so let's do that, actually, just so I get him out of the way. Armorer Dennis, I would say, is the more difficult of the two, because he does have some quite dangerous spells. Luckily, at this point, you are better prepared to deal with them than you are in the Forest of Fallen Giants. In the forest, you know, you're probably a scrappy young undead just venturing out into the world. But here, you know, even if this is the first spoke that you follow, you've gone through quite a few challenges to get here. Anyway, the Alon Knight Helm, that'll give us some good lore. Where is it? Here we go. The bonds of the Alon Knights who served the old Iron King were mightier than the land's iron, but in the end the knights were subsumed by the flames that brought the castle down. So, if I understand that correctly, the bonds of the Alon Knights are less tangible. It's more the bond of kinship between them, and perhaps their bond to their leader, the old Iron King. which kind of plays into that samurai, you know, loyalty to one's commander kind of thing. And so that is metaphorically compared to the land's iron, which is physically and literally very, very strong. So those bonds are even stronger than the strongest iron. But then the castle fell into lava. So that's fun. Anyway, let's see if we can get that other invasion here. Yep, there we go. Fencer Sharon. You remember her? Fencer Sharon was the one who got up all in our grill in Huntsman's Copse. We needed to defeat her in order to get a key. Anyway, Sharon has one particular weapon that's very interesting. You just saw it. Let's see if she'll use it again. It's her left-hand weapon. There we go. So the thing about that weapon that I can't remember the name of is that it extends its distance when it's used. So she slashes it and it greatly increases its distance, at least for certain attacks that it does. There we go. So I think I mentioned, that this is a popular place for PvP. And these two invasions kind of help replicate that idea for people who... Oh, yeah. Forgot about that. Oh, it's totally broken, too. That's great. These invasions help replicate the invasion or PvP experience for players who might play offline. And maybe someday we'll play when the game servers are shut down. Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that, Sharon. There we go. Okay. Well, my trident is broken. But you know what? I'm not too broken up about it. Because I was kind of not feeling the trident that much recently. I feel like it didn't really go well with my Uchi. You know, it just didn't chain very well. I feel like it was awkward. So I guess the fact that it's broken just gives me all the more reason to kind of dump it. I want to replace it with the Dragon Rider Twin Blade, but that thing's really heavy. Yeah, and even if I put on the Royal Soldier's Ring, I'm still fat rolling, heavy rolling, just so slightly. Oh, no, there we go, hey. It's also completely unupgraded, so it does not do a whole lot of damage. Luckily, that doesn't matter too much, because I am going to be using blunt weapons for basically this entire area. Still. It's a little bit sad. If the trident, I feel like I would be happy to use it as my only weapon, but as part of my my onslaught of dual wielding weapons, I feel like it just didn't play well. Oh man, I need to get used to this the range on these weapons. I haven't used them in a while. Anyway, kind of the general design approach of this area, and this is a crass way of putting it. Design approach is Alon Knights run at you from off screen. So in this area, and especially in the next kind of outside courtyard area that you can see through the doorway there, Alon Knights will rush at you from places you didn't even know existed. Also that item, there is a way to get it. Wouldn't try doing it right now. Anywho, so an NPC over there, we'll check him out in just a bit. There's also an Elan Knight, right there. There you are. So the Elan Knights seem to swing pretty quickly, faster than I do. So I gotta be careful with my timing. Because I can stun them, even with a light attack, but if they manage to get an attack in on me first, that is a problem. Anyway, here's a fun room. Here's a ballista in a room that it could not physically have gotten into, I don't think. Unless maybe ship in a bottle style, this part can retract and be slipped through. But even this illusory wall here, it would have a tough time. Anyway, combat advantage of this ballista honestly isn't that great. If you're not doing a ton of damage to the Elan Knights, then maybe getting this guy to half health easily is worth the trip around, but it's more for the satisfaction, I'd say. Anyway, the Elan Knights, hey there. Anybody else? Didn't think so. So the Elan Knights, you saw, use the black steel katana. Let's check that out. Black steel katana wielded by Elan Knights, one of the sturdiest types of katana preferred by masters of the quick draw. In the heyday of his land, the old Iron King fancied entertaining dubious and eccentric guests from faraway lands. Most of them were charlatans, but among the riffraff was an unusual knight from the Far East. He trained the Iron King's men in the sword, in obeisance to his new lord. So, these Elan Knights, the katana-wielding Elan Knights, they are trained by this traveler from the Far East. Hence, you know, for whatever reason, Japanese-style swordsmanship is still associated with the Far East in this world. I don't really know. So the old Iron King was like, haha, I love being a king. I love dabbling in all sorts of fancy merriment. And he kind of imported this swordsmanship style from this unusual knight. And that became the preferred style of swordsmanship in his kingdom. Anyway, it's got great dex scaling. Similar dex scaling to the Uchi. It's unupgraded, but I could dual wield katanas. Just saying. It'd be pretty dope. That's tempting. It's very tempting. And I have just enough dex to use it properly. And it's lighter than the twin blades by a long shot. Look at that. I gotta say, it's looking quite tempting. Twin blade might be cool as a single weapon, but dual katanas, that's pretty cool, guys. Anyway, let's go deal with the NPC that I mentioned is over here. But first, let's take a look out the window. For whatever reason, the Iron Keep has kind of a bull aesthetic going on. There's that fire-breathing bull statue in the other room, and there's a giant bull statue here. Very powerful bull. There's also an interesting platform over there. This is a nice little point of view where we can see later in the level. In fact, the very end of the level. But we're gonna have to go all the way through the keep in order to get there. But enough riff-raff. Let's talk to this guy.
What? Who are you? Who, me? I'm Macarold. Who else? What? Have a look at my wares.
So, Magarold, he's a pretty important NPC for certain builds, because he's the guy who can help you use Skeptic Spice and Simpleton Spice in order to lower the faith or intelligence requirements of certain miracles or spells. I don't have any miracles or spells that I want to use right now, so I can't actually demonstrate that. But for each spice you use, you lower the requirement by 1 point. And he's the guy you can do it with. He also sells a nice assortment of things, some nice stuff to talk about. Jester set and the Bandit set. Jester set, it's one of those sets that people who don't care about fashion souls really like. Jesters are more than festival fixtures. Some have a second face hidden from public view. So, again, the presenting different self from who you are on the inside, blah, blah, blah. We've heard about that before with Pate and a whole lot more. Each set of the Jester set, or each item in the Jester set, has a different special effect. The cap raises item discovery. The robes nullify foes' critical hits. Gloves increase the number of souls that you acquire. And the tights reduce falling damage. So if you feel you are starved for souls, you can equip the gloves and equip a silver serpent ring, and get a fair amount more souls. Item discovery, very nice for grinding certain pieces of clothing or certain items that you might need. But you really gotta commit to the Jester aesthetic. There was one guy, I think we saw at a bonfire somewhere in Earthen Peak, who made it work. But you gotta be careful, because not much goes with a Jester's cap. Then we also have the Bandit helm, or the Bandit set rather. Helmet, or other items of bandits of the Ferosan outskirts. The territory of Ferosa became lawless after the kingdom fell to war. Citizens became bandits and scattered to other lands. So, I like that it's a territory, not a kingdom. That armor looks really cool, actually. I just changed clothes, but I wanna try it. I gotta try it. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff right there. I need it in my life right now. Let's also see. I like the look that the pants have going. I think the textures match very well there. Hat obviously can't change. Let's see if the gloves. Ooh, I like that. That's a little too much. No. I want a little something more substantial. Nah. I think this works really well. It's bulkier. It fits with kind of the more volume of that of the top of the back piece, and I think this is a great example. You know, earlier in my Fashion Souls adventure, I really didn't like it when there was distance between the sleeves and the gloves. Here it works because the negative space, the inclusion of the skin, is built into the top already, and it's balanced for that, so having a little more skin on the arms works. And again, the heavier look of the gauntlets balances well with the heavier shoulder pads. I feel like a bird of prey. I love this. This is a good look. I'm really feeling it. Also, how am I doing durability? Alright, or how am I doing with weight? I'm good. I think this is a good loadout. But Magarold has more for us.
What, you again?
First and foremost, he's got a fragrant branch of yore that I want. And then you may also see that he has wooden carvings. Faces carved from the wood of aged trees. They speak when thrown upon the ground. The fine craftsmanship of these faces is evident even after much aging, but no one knows even the name of the artist. This face says hello. Doesn't it look friendly? This face says thank you. Doesn't it look appreciative? This face says I'm sorry. Doesn't it look apologetic? This face says very good. Doesn't it look cheerful? So these are items that were, I believe, originally introduced in the Artorias of the Abyss DLC for Dark Souls 1. And if you use it, it's an infinitely usable item. If you use it, it vocally says, hello, thank you, I'm sorry, or very good. So it's a nice way of actually communicating with spoken words to other players, rather than with written words in messages or with gestures. However, I really like gestures, and I'm not doing a whole lot of human-to-human interaction in this playthrough, so I'm not gonna bother. He also has some spells. Nothing. I think we might have already heard about this, but there's a traditional order of Shadow Knights in Mira who use any means necessary to carry out their orders. I wonder if those, like, weird ninja things that attack us sometimes are the Shadow Knights from Mira. I don't know. This is modified from an old sorcery by Galea the Hexer. Hexing is rooted in both sorcery and miracles, but is viewed as a perilous affront to all life and banned in most lands. Oh, this one's actually worth reading. An esoteric spell created by Navlan, the infamous exiled sorcerer, creates a local vortex of dark flame. The heretic Navlan was executed along with his entire village, and the mere utterance of his name became a crime. Some say it was because he sought to restore the banned art of resurrection. So Navlan, remember that name. We'll be hearing it again.
I'm mainly a treasure hunter, you see. Mainly a merchant on the side. A room about, looking for a find, following me instincts. I don't care what a thing's worth. What matters is whether it grabs me. Do I enjoy what I do? Well, that's a good question. I suppose I must. I've been doing it for ages.
Again, an interesting version of the losing one's purpose thing, or rather becoming consumed with one's purpose and losing cognizant understanding of it. Same as Kale, you know, just on the journey, not even thinking about whether he enjoys it. He just does it. So he must enjoy it, right? Right?
There's good iron in these parts. An old king even used it to build a castle. But the thing was too heavy. It slowly sank into the ground. Fire spouted from the earth, and the place turned into this. At least, that's what I've been told. A bad story, eh? So, what'll it be? Anything for you today?
So that's a fun story of hubris. You know, the country makes the best iron, the greatest iron. Everybody knows it. So they build a castle out of iron, and it's too heavy, and it sinks into the ground, and it falls into lava. It's like, whoops! This thing you were so proud of is ultimately your undoing because you don't actually understand the power that you wield, and you think you're stronger than you are.
Hey, you know that old fella with the hulking blue sword? He talks really highly of it. I got a feeling it's a fake. I didn't want to disappoint him, so I just sort of talked around it. Let me just say, there are lots of legendary swords out there.
So that's the second person who's mentioned a dude with a big blue sword. Still haven't met that guy. We probably will at some point. Sometime soon.
Have you heard of the shrine on the eastern edge of Dragon Lake? Built to honor the dragons, they say. If only I knew how to get there. I'd go and I'd count it for goodies. I'm mainly a but I enjoy ice cream. Cheers.
Alright. So, that wraps up Magarold. I don't know if we'll ever need to come back here. If I have a spell I want to use or something, maybe. Anyway, that's a good length for an episode. So I'm going to leave this this courtyard here for the next episode, and it's going to be a heck of an episode. This is a heck of a courtyard. This is a complex combat situation. But I do want to run back to the bonfire because that's where I end episodes, and I can't mess with tradition, can I? That would be absurd. Luckily, it's not too far. But yeah, that's our introduction to the Old Iron Keep. I just tacked on old there because of Old Iron King. We've met the Elan Knights. We're gonna meet them in a much more personal way next time. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.